Hey everybody, welcome to We Run on Reruns. I'm Amanda and I'm here with my brother Eric.
How you guys doing, everybody? I hope everyone's enjoyed following along with our Stranger Things rewatch. And now we are about to dive into season 2, episode 1, which is a very different ball game.
Yes, yeah, things definitely start to change and shift a bit here in season 2 for sure. And thank you to those of you who have been, liking our videos and sharing our feed and, looking at our shorts. Just really appreciate that. If you haven't checked out our Friends rewatch episodes, please jump over there as well. We'd love to hear your feedback on those and just any comments that you want to make on this and going forward. We're all ears. So thank you to those who are with us already, and we look forward to having more of you join us.
Yeah. I will admit, we are now into season 2 of Stranger Things. This is where my memory of exactly how things went down gets a little bit foggier. Like I know season 1 fairly well, but I know the key events through season 2, 3, and 4, but all the little details kind of get skewed for me. So please feel free to leave a comment if I mess something up, or if you're like, no, that person still comes back later or whatever, like anything.
Right.
Like I am all ears and willing to have the discussion. I mean, that's what we're doing here. We're trying to help build the community so that we can all have this conversation together.
Yeah, for sure. And just a reminder of where things are at, where they left us at the end of season 1. Joyce and Hopper found and they were able to revive Will in the Upside Down. Mike, 11, Dustin, and Lucas were cornered at the school by Dr. Brenner's people until 11 took out several of the agents. Jonathan and Nancy set the Demogorgon on fire with Steve's help after he knocked it into a bear trap. The Demogorgon was then lured into the school where 11 was then able to finally destroy it. But then 11 also vanished in the process. And then finally, we were then in this flash forward into a month into the future where we learn that Will is still continuing to experience glimpses into the Upside Down, and he was coughing up pieces of what we only assume are pieces of that creature that was like possessing him when they pulled out that tentacle in that last episode. So we're definitely, we also actually, I didn't have this in my notes, but we also had the moment where we learned that Steve and Nancy were a couple, which I know, Eric, you were not a big fan of.
Not happy with that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not happy with that at all, but that is what it is. This is going to be a very, very good opening episode, I feel like, and we definitely have some things that get, we're seeing the change of gears here for Stranger Things right out of the gate in this first episode. So I don't hate Steve and Nancy together, for the record. I don't hate this. I just it didn't make sense for me at that moment that it should have been the case. They were clearly working their way towards Jonathan and Nancy.
I agree. Yeah.
Steve just kind of swooping in here. It just didn't sit right with me. There's something wrong about it. But I don't hate it long term. But we'll see. We'll see where we go.
Yeah, exactly. And I think, there's just one word that comes to mind is teenager. So, right.
Well,
it's it's like that's got to be, because you're right. I mean, but we'll get into that more as we dive through these episodes, I'm sure. So this first episode for season 2, we're back to calling these chapter 1. So I think every season it's where, you just restart the chapters.
Yes.
It's like its own little book, right?
That's right.
So we have chapter 1, MADMAX. And we kick things off with a date that flashes in front of the screen saying October 28th, 1984. So that tells us it's been a little under a year since the beginning of season 1, just to give some context there. And we are with these kids that are running out of a building into a van. They're all wearing masks, and the cops are immediately after them. And we're now seeing that, hey, there are more kids out there that seem to possess those powers, at least similar to 11. And they're able to escape the cops. And you see one girl with a 008 on her wrist. So very similar to 11's tattoo, where she had the 11 on her wrist. And she's saying boom as she's squeezing her fist. And she's making it look like a bridge or this tunnel collapsed to stop a cop. And then you pan back and you realize this tunnel hasn't collapsed at all. She just made it look like it had. So he had hit his brakes and the rest of the cops are like, dude, what are you doing? Like, just keep going. And he looks back and realizes, oh, the obstruction, like he thought that it had caved in and it really hadn't at all.
Yeah, she's just like in his mind, like messing with it, making it look like something's happened when in fact nothing did it at all. I know it's also worth noting that they not just gave us a date, but a location, that this was in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. So we are not just in Hawkins now. We are outside of the state. So
good catch.
This is spacing we're casting the net a little bit wider here. For these characters with these abilities.
Yeah. And Eric, I don't know if you had the same thought. So that was like the only quick scene right before the credits for this episode. And Eric, I don't know if you felt the same way, but I was like, I remembered this scene, but then I was thinking, wow, I don't remember getting to know these characters better. And there's a reason for that. And it's because we just don't talk about them for the rest of this episode. And I don't know if you had the same feeling or,
well, I know there is a storyline that trickles into these people.
Yes.
But I did not remember that season 2 started with them.
Yeah.
In the same way that when we did season 1, episode 1, it starts with like the lab tech running through the Department of Energy.
Yeah.
I did not remember that part at all.
Yes.
It was the next few scenes that I start remembering.
Yeah.
And so when we get up here and we get to like the boys at the arcade, these are more things that I remember.
Right.
And in our last podcast, you had even asked me, well, do we even get to meet their other parents? And I'm like, oh, we definitely do.
Yeah.
And here we are right out of the gate at Dustin's home.
That's right. Yeah, we're at Dustin's house right after the credits, and his mom is there with their cat, and he's kind of racing around saying that it's an emergency, right? So I'm thinking, what's already happening? Like, what is going down? And then we go over to Mike's house, and he's also racing around, stealing money from Nancy as she's like racing after him. He's kind of just running out of the house with her money as much as he could gather. And it really seemed like, you could tell right away that something was going on with Mike. Like, he did not seem okay.
Lucas and Dustin had clearly had the idea that, hey, we got to gather some quarters. Like, they needed money. And so they were gathering quarters for something. Now, we don't know what that is at this moment, but that's what they're doing.
Right.
When they contact Mike, he's clearly forgotten.
Yeah.
And he has to scramble and basically steal money from Nancy.
Yeah.
Just to have something.
Yes.
And she's not too thrilled about it. And so the idea of the brother and sister together, sharing all the information that seems like a distant memory at this point.
Yes.
That's long gone.
Yeah.
And here we go.
Yeah, and then we're at the Arcade Palace with Will getting dropped off by Joyce, and he's kind of telling her, "Listen, Mom, I'm fine, I'm fine." And she's saying, "Call me if you need me, just let me know if you need
Yeah.
me to come pick you up."
Yeah.
And he's just
Don't
trying
walk or bike home was the message.
Right,
Don't
yes,
walk or bike home.
exactly. And listen, kind of like we were talking at the end of our last episode on Stranger Things, it's like we're glad to see that some people are taking some precautions based on what they now know about that's
Yep.
living in the upside down. So she's
You know,
trying to, yeah. And
It's a
Will
fair
is
statement.
and Will obviously has been in it, and he, has that actual experience. And so has Joyce, right? So she's been there now, and I think it's probably gonna affect, same with Nancy, like those who have actually been in it maybe a bit differently than those who haven't.
Well, and I'll tell you, a lot of people like to complain about helicopter parents today who just kind of hover around their children,
Sure.
making sure nothing bad ever happens to them.
Yeah.
When your child gets pulled to an alternate dimension, I think
Yeah.
Joyce has the ability to do that and
Yeah.
not get any flack for it.
Agreed. Yeah. And I did also note in the scene that Whip It was playing on the
Yes.
car radio, which I loved. That was a good one. Nice
Yeah.
touch of the 80s there.
Little bit more positive, happy
Right.
80s music in this
Yes.
first episode for
Yes.
sure.
Yep.
We're getting back to it.
Bringing us to an arcade all as well.
Yeah.
So it's like, all right, so Dustin wasn't racing around for some type of life or death emergency. It was just like, hey, we need to play these games. And he is trying to,
Hey, listen,
yeah,
doing kids things,
That's
right?
right.
They need quarters.
which is good. Yeah. So Dustin, we learn, is trying to get the high score in Dragon's Lair. He has already been at the high score ranking on Dig Dug, which I remember. I feel like Dragon's Lair, I remember seeing that game.
Okay.
Dig Dug, I am not recalling that
Dig
game.
Dug is definitely a game.
Yeah.
He also was a high score on Centipede, which is definitely a
Oh,
game.
yes, I knew Centipede. Yep.
Dragon's Lair.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know that that's a real game. And if it is,
Seems-
so be it.
Yeah.
But like Dragon's Lair, when you're looking at him playing the game, it has graphics that look like He-Man or Ninja Turtles. It looks like a cartoon from the 80s,
yeah.
right? It looks like, Thundercats. It's got that same art style.
Yes.
It does not look like a video game from the 80s.
Yes.
It looks like a cartoon. So I don't know how realistic that game is, but
yeah, it's saying, I'm just looking this up. Apparently, Dragon's Lair was a real arcade game released in 1983 and became a major hit due to its use of Laserdisc technology, which provided high quality animated graphics that looked
That's
like a
what I'm saying.
cartoon. So players
Okay.
controlled the knight. Yeah, so it was really unique for its time. It was definitely
That's
an
what I'm saying.
innovative game.
I wasn't
Wow.
sure if it was real or not, but
Yeah.
it certainly looked like a very different type of game.
Yes.
Whether it was real, apparently it is real. So
Yeah,
awesome.
pretty cool. Yeah.
I never played it,
yeah.
but that it definitely had a very different art style to
Yeah.
it, and that was noteworthy. Yeah. So anyway,
Yeah, we see Will
we have
then.
this situation
Right.
where Dustin says, "Well, I can't beat Dragon's Lair, but I've still got the high score on these other two,"
That's right.
and he has to
but
learn
does he?
that MADMAX is taking his spot.
Mm-hmm. And Dig
And
Dug.
so we have this teen who is kind of running the arcade, and he knows who MADMAX is, and he's not willing to give it up unless Mike, provides a date with Nancy
Yes.
or, this information.
Yes.
And I asked the question, how in the world is Mike supposed to pull that off?
I mean, yeah, like Nancy has no choice here too in the matter. Like, just get me a date with your sister.
He turns it down very easily.
Uh-huh.
And like to Mike's credit, he's like, "No, I'm not doing that."
Yes.
But even if he said yes,
Right. Right.
how is that gonna work
Uh-huh.
out? That's never gonna happen.
Right.
Like, I don't know.
Yeah,
It seems like
bizarre.
such a bizarre request.
Yeah.
I mean, listen, I get it, but
Yeah. Yeah.
crazy.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. So, right. So MADMAX, top score, Dig Dug, and then we're with Will, who he all of a sudden is looking out of the door, and walking outside, and he's no longer in their reality for this moment, right? So he's back in the upside down. So we're learning right away these flashes are still happening for him, and it seems like they're happening pretty frequently. So he's back in the upside down, and he turns to ask the guys if they're seeing, like, I think he didn't even get the word out, but I think he was about to ask them if they're seeing, like, snow outside or something, because when he's looking
That's
out
what
of
I
the
thought.
outside,
Like,
it's like he's seeing those ash, like, pieces falling around, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
But before he even gets to ask them, everything around him transforms, and he goes outside to see the sky looking like it's exploding. Like, it looks very apocalyptic. There's the ash floating around, and the sky is like red, flashing with this huge plume of a cloud, of like some type of smoke cloud or something. Um, Luckily, Mike then went outside and called his name, which just snapped Will right back out of it, and he was back in their reality, right? So yeah.
So I do have one note that I was watching, and I had to I rewound it and pulled it back together because
Yeah.
obviously this is a big arcade.
Yes.
And as Mike is walking out,
Yeah.
there's all this like electrical activity, and the sign on top of the arcade is like flashing,
Okay.
but only flashing partially. And it says arcade on one side, but then on the other side, it says palace, right? And palace is the word that is mostly cut out,
Mm.
but the P and the A are flashing, 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 flashing.
Okay.
Now, I only bring this up
Yeah.
because we just know that 008 is in Pennsylvania, which is PA.
Oh.
And I don't know if that means anything
Oh my
or if I'm
God.
just reading too far
That's
into
a
this.
good catch, though. I think because I'm
Like,
gonna admit,
I'm
guys.
like-
yeah, I didn't even recognize the. I missed the reference to Pennsylvania at the beginning of the show, and I totally missed that too. So
Well,
that's good.
It wouldn't be something that would necessarily mean anything, but I just jotted it down as a note and thought, hey, maybe we'll keep this in the back pocket and see
Okay.
what happens with it. But needless to say, we still have electrical activity on all of the
Ye-
arcade like pieces and signs outside, mostly out, some are flashing, and it just happened to be ironic that it was a PA flashing and we just were in Pennsylvania. Now, I don't know, like I said,
Yeah.
it might be absolutely coincidence, but
Yes.
it's something I noted.
Yes. Okay. All right. Interesting. Well, we'll keep an eye on that for sure. And after this scene, we're then in a scene with Hopper where he is arriving at the police station, and we have the song "Just Another Day" by Oingo Boingo playing in the background, which I love that song.
Great band
And
name.
it was, again, I
Great
feel like
band name.
trying to get you right back into, hey, this is just another day. We're just back to normal right
Yeah.
at the police
No,
station.
positive 80s
Yes,
vibes now.
yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
But then he's inside with this guy. His name is Murray Bowman, who's going to be with us for a while in this series now. Who I really like. This character, he goes through a lot of changes, as we see many of them do on the show. But he's asking about what's been going on in this town, and we learn that he's well, I think they actually get into the specifics around this more later in the episode, but we learn that this guy Murray is a former investigative journalist, where he's turned now to be a private investigator for the Holland family, so Barb's parents, because he's asking about, like, hey, there might be a Russian spy presence in Hawkins. Some little girl shattered the door with her mind, thinking of, hey, this is the grocery store that he's, remembering back to where Eleven went out with all the Eggos. And he's saying, some girl with a shaved head was also hiding in a basement. And you're telling me that Barbara Holland was killed by a Russian spy is what Hopper is saying, like acting dumb, right? Like he's just like, I have, no idea what you're talking about. This is crazy. So he's really trying to brush him off. But yeah,
Hmm.
you hear that there's people looking into this is really the takeaway, is that this isn't just disappearing. There are folks who are
No.
still trying to look into
Well,
what happened to these kids, right?
and Hopper and the police are trying to paint Murray as like the town kook,
Yes.
like just some guy who's a conspiracy theorist that doesn't really know.
Yes.
And so when he gets enough correct details laid out, Hop just says, listen, I'll give you 5 minutes, come in. And he just kind of pulls him into the
Mm.
office because even one of the other police officers is like, hey, well, there was that one kid who, did this, who had the shaved head
Yes.
and made Troy wet his pants is what it
That's right.
was. And so that's when Hop's like, all right, come on in, come on. I'll give you 5 minutes.
Right.
And he's just trying to cover this whole thing up as quickly as possible. Because listen, last we know, he made a deal
Yeah.
that said, we're going to forget all this ever happened.
Right. 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 Exactly. And Eric, I also learned that some of this storyline around Barb was actually fan driven, supposedly, because people were very upset by how at the end of season one, it was kind of like, you saw that Barb was dead, but you didn't get a whole lot of closure around what happened to Barb. Like, she's just gone
Well,
now. And a lot of people liked her character and wanted us to really fill that story in more, like complete what happened to Barb and tell more about her family and her background. So that is what I read a little bit
I,
about.
I totally get that. But at the same time, as just like for me personally, like we see the character dead in the
Yes.
Upside Down. That's as much closure as I need. What else are we going to really do here? Now, could Hop have tried to explain that to the parents?
Yeah.
Sure. Are they necessarily going to believe him? Not
Yeah.
necessarily, because what Hop and the gang know is a whole lot different than what Barb's parents think and know.
Yeah.
And so they would probably just view that as him brushing off the whole thing
For
anyway.
sure. Yeah.
Um, but as far as me, like watching that, like I don't need Barb's like story any farther than it has to be. I think it's fine,
Eric,
but
how
like
dare you?
I know. Listen, I'm not out here trying to hate on Barb, but like we saw her dead. What more
Well,
closure do me, the viewer, need? I don't need
so
anything.
I think it's like, because we knew that she and Nancy were best friends. I do really like that, and we'll get to it, but I like the scene coming up with Nancy. You learn that she's going to seeing her parents, going to have dinners at their house, which I think was really nice. It's like, hey, they're, and you also learn where their minds are at. But we will get there shortly. Um,
Yeah.
so now we're with Nancy and Jonathan in his car. Love this scene where he's showing her his college essay, which she's
Oh
like,
yeah.
oh, this could use some work. She's kind of pointing out, does this really tie back to the rest of your essay? Like, what are you trying to say here? And, you learn tomorrow is the deadline, and they're supposed to be having a dinner, which they don't say where it is, but since I was just talking about it, this is the one she's referencing, having a dinner with Barb's parents, and is saying, we don't want to miss this again. And it's still a bit of a mystery while you're watching this episode what they're referring to here, but you do get the sense that this is important, right? This is something that they're supposed to be doing regularly, and I guess they missed last week. Um,
Well, I think this also starts to really repair Steve's character a little
yes,
bit.
right.
Like show that he is not just dating Nancy and trying to blow off the studying, which is what he was doing at the beginning of season
Yeah.
one, but he's actually taking his own academics a little bit more seriously. He is, using her help, although I know he gets very
Yeah.
frustrated with it.
Yeah.
he also then brings up like, well, maybe I don't need to go to college. Maybe I'll just work for my dad. Like, that's probably what I'm supposed to do
Yeah.
anyway. It's got benefits and all that fun stuff that adults are supposed to have.
Yeah,
anyway.
and
So it could be a whole lot worse. And Nancy also kind of shrugs like, yeah, I mean, you're not wrong. Like, it could be worse than that. Like, that's not the worst alternative.
Yeah, it was hard.
But it's not your best alternative.
It was hard for me to really figure out what she was thinking when he said that. Because then he immediately said, I love you. And she said, I love you back, which we learned like, okay, well, they've taken this to the next level then, right? Like, they're really serious here.
At this point now, like we said, it's been almost a year.
Yeah.
So they're now in this relationship for a while.
Yeah, and when he's saying, I could just stay in Hawkins and then be closer to you, right? Because she's a year behind him, which I didn't fully realize when we started watching this, Eric. I don't know if you did, Eric.
That's the first reference that I got to that.
So I guess he's a senior and she's a junior. And so he's suggesting, well, I could just stay here where you're at. And yeah, I couldn't quite get a read on, is she like, okay, that's great? Or like,
I think she,
I don't know.
Yeah, to me it read as like, okay, that's a fine option, I guess. Like, it's not the worst thing that could happen, but there's also like a better opportunity for you to do more out there if you'd like to.
Yeah. So then this Pontiac Trans Am pulls up really loud playing, we have some more great music here. Rock You Like a Hurricane is like blasting out of this guy's car. And so it's the new guy in town and his sister pulling up, and she just like skateboards off out of the car. I'm like, man, this girl is so cool. Like right away, it's like, man, that she's just, I don't know. They both just stand out.
And they also I think it also makes sense that this car pulls up and they flash the California plates on it.
So true.
And so these people are not from Hawkins. These people are from a very different place, and therefore they're gonna look on and act a little bit differently.
He gets out of the car, his hair is like blowing in the wind. He has like this little mustache. I'm like, oh Lord. Yeah. And we learn a lot more about his character really, really soon too. And that's pretty interesting. Then we're with Will in where he's opening up his locker in school, and he has this little note left in his locker that says Zombie Boy on it. So we also get a really quick flash of what Will's reality has become. It's not that he's come back and everyone is necessarily love to have you back, we missed you so much, but he's also getting bullied, right? So we're going right back to bullying where,
I mean, Will was getting bullied before.
Exactly.
Will and his friends are all easy targets for bullies from the jump. Being someone who everybody had a funeral for and then reappears out of nowhere. You're while as everyone who is close to him is super supportive and very happy to have him back,
that would be
there
freaky.
are going to be people out there that are like, what is this?
Yeah.
Like, and just by not understanding, they're going to act out.
So
and
true.
That's where we are.
Yeah. And
Will's just got to deal with it. Really, like he has no other outlet at this point. Like, what are you gonna do?
Right. Yeah. And then we are with the new skater girl arriving in the class with Mr. Clark, and he's introducing her and saying, all the way from sunny California, Maxine, and she's quickly like, it's Max. And then Lucas turns to Dustin sitting in the front row, and he whispers, MADMAX to Dustin, and
there it is.
They know this has got to be the one who stole that top score in Dig Dug from Dustin. So they're onto her. But then we're back with Joyce at her work. So she's working at that store still where she was like getting the new phone right. Yeah.
This is our first chance to see Joyce at work.
Yes.
Because in the very first episode, she was coming home from work.
Right.
That's as much as we saw. And then she just stayed at the house.
She needed some time off. Yeah. So, so then you see her not working at work, where she's then making out with this guy who we learn is Bob in the storage closet, I guess, or like in their like inventory room, or yeah, I don't know. And she's telling him, go work on selling your electronic thingamajiggies, and I'll see you tonight for the movie. And they're kind of going back and forth about this movie, and I guess Jonathan is gonna pick out a movie, and Bob is like, "Oh, tell him not to pick out something too scary." And Noah's like, Pedro and
Yeah.
I are watching this,
Was-
and we're like, "Oh, he's in the wrong house. Like, this is not good."
Listen, Sean Astin
Yes,
plays Bob.
yes,
And
Goonies.
they are going to paint Bob as Mr. Vanilla.
Mm-hmm.
Like, absolutely nothing exciting, but nothing dangerous. And he does such a good job with this character,
Yes.
making it exactly what it should be.
Yeah.
And I love the idea to just name the guy Bob.
I know.
Like, just it's not like it's not Hopper.
Yes.
Or some,
he's not
like-
Hopper. Yeah.
No,
Mhm.
he is the opposite of Hopper.
Yes.
So, yeah, it's
Which
good, though.
in this moment, Joyce is probably like, "This is the kind of guy that I want to be
She's looking
with."
for stability.
There's not going to be any crazy surprises with Bob, right? Like, what you see is what
No.
you get. So
Yes.
yeah, and then Eric, we're with Hopper in this like pumpkin patch where he's asking to kind of look around, and he's startled.
Well,
Yeah.
Well, the farmer there is
Yeah.
talking about, like, all the pumpkins are destroyed.
Right.
Every single one of them.
Yes.
And the farmer is concerned that the rival pumpkin grower, Eugene, has done some sort of destruction to his prize pumpkins,
Yes.
because Eugene's come up with this idea to have people come and get their own pumpkins. Like, so this is where, like,
yes.
coming to pick out your own pumpkin from
Became
a
a
pumpkin
thing.
patch was not a thing.
Right.
And they're like establishing, oh, I could do that too. Like, you can't sue me for doing the same thing. Like,
Mhm.
I've got a pumpkin field. People will come here. And so he thinks Eugene has destroyed all his pumpkins with some sort of poison.
Yeah.
And that's when Hopper hears something
Yes.
out in the fields.
Uh-huh.
And so he's like, "You got anybody working out there in the cornfield?" No. So he just walks off into the cornfield, and you see him draw his weapon. And you go, at that moment, that's when I thought, like, okay, Hopper is still
Yes.
in the mindset of something's going, like, we're not done with this
Right.
now. Like, there's some out here. And he's hearing some very not cornfield type noises.
Mhm.
Some weird, like, gurgles
Mhm.
and things that kind of sound like the Predator movies.
Right.
You remember the Predator
Yes.
movies? Like that clicking and stuff?
Yes.
Yeah. That's what he's hearing.
Right.
And then he comes around a corner, and a crow flies out of nowhere, and it lands on the scarecrow, and
Yep.
Hopper just kind of holsters his weapon and walks back out.
Yeah. You're right, though. It's like him drawing his gun in the cornfield. Yeah, he's very much still in that mindset, for sure, and with good reason.
Absolutely.
As we learn, right. And then we're with Nancy, where she's giving Jonathan a flyer. They're at school, and she wants him to come to this Halloween party. So Nancy is like really trying to keep a connection with Jonathan. She still wants to be friends with him,
They're
still wants to be around him.
Clearly good
right?
friends still at this point.
Yes. And I mean, yeah, because they've had this really intense bonding experience, and he's like, you know what? I'm trick-or-treating with Will. She's like, well, just come. You might meet someone there. So it's like she's trying to
Yeah.
really like keep him in that, yeah, you might meet someone else there, friend zone type thing. And he's probably like, okay, I don't really want to have this in mind. And like, just as they're talking, Steve comes out of nowhere and like grabs Nancy from behind and starts like kissing her, and it's still like Jonathan is right there, and
He just
then they
walks on.
yeah, he walks on, and you see Nancy though kind of looking after Jonathan, and it's just like, oh, poor Jonathan. I was just like, oh gosh.
Well, she even
Yeah,
says, like,
Lucas.
he says he's going to be trick-or-treating all night. And she's like, no, you're
Yeah.
not.
No,
You're
you're
going to
not.
be, you're
Right.
going to be trick-or-treating till 8. Then you're going to come home. You're going to read Vonnegut and like listen to,
Oh.
what was it? I forget the band name that she
Oh,
quoted.
who did she?
I
Yes.
didn't write
Oh,
it
I
down,
wish I wrote. I didn't either,
but
but
she
I was
quoted
like, oh,
some band and,
yeah.
and he's like, sounds like a great night. And
Yeah,
I'm
like,
like,
oh man, I would
I'm
have been
like,
hanging out with Jonathan in high school. Yeah. Yeah, for sure. I'm like, oh man, yeah, that's I can relate. So and then we're seeing Max's note. Oh, that's right. Sorry, I jumped
well,
ahead a little bit because we see the boys are like kind of spying on and stalking Max. And when I say the boys, it's really just Dustin and Lucas at this point.
no,
I don't
Mike's
think
there too.
is Mike
Yeah,
Mike is
Mike's
there
there
too?
too.
Okay, because Mike
Is
just
Will
feels
there?
very much
Will might
detached
be
from
there
them at
too.
this
I think
point.
all 4 of them are there at this juncture.
All
Yes,
four of them?
I
Sorry,
can tell you
guys,
for
I did
sure they're
not
all
write
there.
that part down.
All 4 of them
Okay.
are there. They're kind of like in this dugout situation around
Yeah,
a
yeah,
baseball field, and they're watching Max from a distance as she's just kind of like
right.
messing around on a skateboard and doing some other things. And
Yeah.
then they lose her and they find her again over by this like staircase, which she
Uh-huh.
walks up
Yes, that's
and
right.
drops a piece of paper in the trash and then goes in the door, and all of them run over there. And this is why I remembered that all 4 of them are there, because Dustin goes
Oh,
into
yes.
the trash can to get the paper, and the other
The rest
3
of
kind of form a
yes.
wall in front of the trash
Y
can to make it look
yeah.
like, no, our friend isn't digging through the trash. That would be crazy.
Oh my god.
And
Yeah.
they pull out the piece of paper and it says, "Stop spying on me, creeps."
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, they're all just like, "Nothing to see here." It's like people are walking by like,
Yeah.
"What the heck are these kids doing?" Right. I love that move from her. So she's clearly super observant and they think they're being all sly and sneaky, but no, they're not at
Yeah.
all.
Now we do get
Um
a scene later where it's just Lucas and Dustin watching
that
Max,
you're right.
but
Yes,
that
yeah.
comes later.
Yes, and you're right because then coming up then Will is clearly there because is it the principal I think comes up and says, your mother's here to Will.
Yes.
Um and at that point, the rest of the guys they're kind of looking like they sort of understand what's going on here, but as the viewer, you don't really know yet and then you're
No.
just seeing them yeah,
A-
walking through the
And
hallway at school.
and then they're in the car and they're driving, and I wrote down it sounds like they're talking about some sort of medical or
That's what
psych or
yes.
therapist appointment,
That's
but
that's
you're
right.
not really fully sure. And then when they
Right.
get to the place, Hop is
Yes.
there,
That's right. And
and they
so
are
it's like
walking into the Department of Energy. To which I
that's
go,
right. What?
whoa, what are we
I
doing?
know. Exactly. And before they leave too, I also just want to point out that Mike was saying he's quiet today and Lucas is saying he's always quiet. So I just wanted to like the boys have all like kind of observed that Will is different, right? Like he's just acting a little bit different since he's
Well,
been back.
and I'll say
Yeah.
this, as far as a rewatch is concerned, I was always interested to see how the writers for Stranger Things weaved Will into the story. Because for
Mm,
the first season, Will is not a part. He's gone.
no.
He's the
Right.
target of the rescue. But
Right.
you've now watched Mike and Dustin and
Yes.
Lucas band together and be
Mhm.
together, and all the intricacies that come with the 3 of them and their relationship.
Yep.
And when Will steps in, like, okay, that's going to bend this friendship a little bit. Like, where are the alliances now? And how
Mhm.
much does Will get to communicate? Is he just going to be hanging in the background while the other 3 are talking, or how is it? And so this is kind of the first time they paint the picture of, well, he's more of the quiet one.
It's
which
true. Yeah. So, right. So I
you,
guess, are you saying Lucas was saying, well, he's always been quiet? Is that how you took that, instead of he's now been quiet since he's been back? I mean,
I think they, to me, it read as
yeah.
he's always been quiet.
Okay.
And
Gotcha.
and
Yeah.
I will pair that with the very first episode. The only stretch of time we have with Will is
Hmm.
before the opening credits while they're playing Dungeons and Dragons. And he is not really decisive in what to
Yeah.
do.
Yeah.
And the other guys are all shouting suggestions, and he's not really
That's
coming up with
true.
an answer. So
Yeah.
those two kind of are hand in hand for me. And
That
again,
makes sense.
at the arcade, it's the other guys that are doing the heavy lifting on all the
Yeah.
communication. Will just kind
Yeah.
of slinks off to the back.
It's
And
true.
so
Yeah.
I do think his character has always just been a quieter character,
More
but
introspective. Yeah.
yeah, but
Yep.
at the same time, you've got to find a way. The writers have to find a way to weave him into this story
Yeah.
more than just sitting in the background with them. And I think they do a very good job of that going forward, just for the record. But this was
Yeah.
always my thought at this point
I think that makes
watching
sense. I mean,
Stranger
Will
Things.
definitely presented that way for sure. I remember when our first episode, it's like, oh, you could just tell he's just this really sweet boy, and just very like kind and more like softer than the others. Like, they were
Well,
definitely more loud and
yeah, and like he hung
yeah, and just
back
more,
when
yes.
the two boys left, and he hung back and made sure that he told Mike what the actual dice roll was
That's right.
instead of,
Yes.
making it up and saying,
But
"Oh
he
no, the
wasn't gonna
fireball
be in
hit."
their face. Right,
Yeah,
right.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah. That, you're right. That does tell a lot. And so, yeah, as you said, Eric, we're there. Hopper is at the Department of Energy, and we're then inside where they're injecting Will with this huge ass needle. And he's hooked up to all these machines. And I love how at this point we see Paul Reiser is the doctor, Dr. Sam Owens. And
great addition, by the way, great addition.
yes. Yeah, yeah. So
And immediately though, because it's him, because it's
yeah.
Paul
You
Reiser, I
want to
think
trust him?
you are a little bit more willing to accept, oh, this guy's going to be helpful instead of
Paul
Papa,
Reiser.
who is
It looks a little bit more
who
menacing.
yeah,
Yes.
like
Mm,
you immediately connect with him a little bit more.
yes.
And I think that is reasonable. Now, whether or not we should have connected with him,
I know.
we'll leave that for the future episodes.
Yeah, I don't know
But
about for you, but for me, it's like I felt that like right away, but then very quickly it was like, oh, yeah, this is not who we should actually trust. But we do learn really important in this scene where, you know, we hear that Will is sharing these experiences that he's having flashes of the upside down, right? Because you initially see it and you're wondering, well, is he just keeping this to himself? Does anyone know that this is happening to him? Well, they do, right? And he's actually
yeah,
going into great detail about what just happened at the arcade. Saying that there was a big storm there and I felt frozen. And he's like, frozen, like how when you get scared and you can't move. And
right,
I felt an evil looking at me. And Dr. Owens is asking, well, what did it want? And he's saying to kill, not me, but everyone else.
right.
It's like, wow. Oh gosh, yeah, that's not what you want to hear. And
No.
the doctor is saying, well, it's gonna get worse before it gets better. And I'm like, okay, this isn't like
Yeah.
that
I
response
mean,
is
he's uh, he's trying to explain, PTSD, and even in the following scene, Hop is talking to Joyce outside in the parking lot, and he's like, "Listen, this
yeah.
PTSD stuff is real."
Uh-huh.
And
I don't know if I'd call that
they're
PTSD, but yeah.
well, no, not
Yeah.
necessarily, but they
That's how
don't
they're
know that.
right, that's how
That's
they're understanding it. That he's just having these
that's
like hallucinations. Right.
right. That's what they're envisioning, and that's the
Mm-hmm.
best medical that they can come up with at this
That's right.
moment.
Yeah.
And I understand Joyce's frustration, but at the same time, I understand 80's thought process on PTSD is going to be
Yeah.
like, hey, listen, just leave everything the same. The
Yeah.
more consistent you can
Well,
be, the easier it will be for them to come out of it.
that's right. And that's true because there is definitely truth to that with PTSD as well. And he's saying there's the anniversary effect. So it's like now been, we're getting close to a year,
Right.
and it's going to start impacting him a little bit more because he's remembering a year ago at this time, this is where I was, right? So that's kind of
Well,
how they're explaining it away, and that he might get
but this
irritable.
is all.
Yeah,
This is also under the thought process that these
it's
are like
hallucinations.
memories and
Yes.
hallucinations
Right.
and not
Right.
actual visits.
Right. Exactly. Exactly. And, right, like you said, they're saying don't pressure him, let him lead the way. If we're going to get through this, you have to trust me, is also what the doctor is saying to Will, right? So he wants him to
Yeah.
be completely open with him. And I have in my notes, don't do it. but
Well,
but,
listen, the other side to this is they go out when after Joyce and Hopper have this conversation in the parking lot, they kind of
mhm.
flash back up to Dr. Owens and he's getting
Yes.
called back in, and we
Uh-huh.
see a new like entrance to the wall that they've constructed.
Yes.
That living gate wall that we
Right.
have come to know. And instead of going in and exploring it, they are going in, standing in front of the wall and torching it with this
Yes.
big, like, flamethrower situation. And I'm interpreting this as we're trying to keep this from expanding. We're going to
Well,
leave it as short as it can be, and maybe we're going to be able to close this thing up.
well, and it was also like on the ground. There was like this screeching thing that was like
Well,
it was this mass with these tentacles coming out of it. I mean, it
I
did
think
not.
the gate starts on the wall and it's
Yes.
starting to expand, and so
Yes.
they're trying to fight it back.
That's right.
And so at that point, I'm not necessarily not trusting of Dr. Owens.
Yeah.
At this point in time.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that you can't trust him down the line.
Yeah, there was
but
that glimpse where before he went back inside to have his tech use this flamethrower on this thing, you had this moment where he was standing up on the balcony looking down at Hop in the parking lot, and he waved to him, and I love how Hop just stood there staring back at him. I'm
Yeah.
like, oh my god, he did not even wave. Like, he is, I think, very suspicious of what's going on, and I think that's also why
as he should be.
that's
As he should
I
be.
think why Hopper is there through all of this, because he's like, I want to know everything that's going on here. And he had even said to Joyce, he had kind of teased her about being with Bob. He was like, how's Bob the Brain doing? I'm happy for you, trying to, and
Yeah.
but he tells her, if things get worse, call me. Like, he wants to be her first call. He wants to be there. Right.
He is the point of contact for this whole situation.
That's right.
Listen, and as the like head of the police department, there is no greater threat to Hawkins than this.
Right.
There
Yeah.
will not be any greater. This is the biggest threat.
Yeah, I would say so.
I totally understand
Oh my
Hop
goodness.
wanting to be the point person for
Yeah.
this whole thing.
Well, and now he's, feels this connection with them, obviously, too, because he's been there, like he has seen it. He knows what's going on. So then we have this quick scene where we're with Dustin and Lucas spying on Max again, arriving at the arcade where they confirm she is MADMAX. She's playing that game and she has the high score.
And they do say she is incredible.
Yes.
Like, they are not
awe.
jealous anymore. They are in awe of her abilities.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would say Dustin has a little bit of a crush now. He's like, oh, MADMAX beat me at my game. All right. And then we are back at the Wheeler's house, which then we're seeing Mr. Wheeler, Eric, and I love the line where he says to Mike, so if your friends jump off a cliff, are you gonna jump too? And I'm like, oh, Mike's
Classic.
already done that though. Like he's literally jumped off a cliff.
Literally.
Yeah.
And no one else asked him. He just
No.
like his bullies were threatening his friends, and so he was literally jumping.
Yes, but
he will jump.
But that is such a classic line, Eric. I was definitely told that a couple times in my childhood. I don't know if you heard that. Yeah.
And if you listen,
Right?
if you are of a certain age, you have to have heard that.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah.
In fact, I would argue that if you're of any age, you've probably heard
Have
that.
you used that line as a parent?
No, not yet.
Okay. All right.
Not yet, really.
Okay.
I
didn't know if that was a thing that,
well,
Eric's the
but
parent here, so I have to defer to him.
we're also like we're just getting to like be teenagers.
That's right.
now.
That's true. That's true.
So
more influence.
we're about to
come.
get a little bit more friend influence.
Yes.
So I can see myself using it not too far from now.
Mm-hmm.
I'll try not to.
Yeah.
But I bet I will.
Yeah. Very true. And hey, there might be valid reason. So then we're with Steve and Nancy, and this is where we then learn the what the dinner was. Yeah.
Hold on. Before we do that, I do want to go back and just talk about this dinner.
Oh,
with
yeah,
Mike,
at the Wheelers.
because I feel like this really
you learn
showcases
You're right.
a lot about where Mike is mentally right now. They basically talk to him about how he's been in trouble for cursing out an adult.
Yes.
He was plagiarizing an essay.
Yes.
He was graffitiing a stall. He just was stealing from Nancy. And they kind of set the stage for, hey, Mike, you're on strike 20, is what they say.
Yeah.
This is not strike 3.
Yeah.
You're all the way out.
Right.
So, and Mike stands like, listen, if it was me, you wouldn't be on the bench, you'd be off the team. And it's like, well, what are you going to kick him out of the family?
Oh my.
Like, that's a bad metaphor. But, that being said, the punishment here is that they're doing like donations and he needs to fill 2 boxes of toys for this donation that he's got to make. And he was hoping for only 1, but now he's got to donate 2.
Yeah.
So that kind of, to me, was a look into where Mike is, because he might be having a harder time with all this back to reality than the others.
Yeah.
Because 11's not there anymore.
No, I'm so glad that you touched it, because that is a really important detail to see where Mike was at. And that was kind of where, like, at the very beginning, even with him, like, in Nancy's room, it just felt like he was being more aggressive there, even from the very beginning. And it's like, oh yeah, Mike, I think, is struggling a lot with this.
Well, not only is he being more aggressive with Nancy and taking the money and things like that, which is obviously a poor decision, but he's also forgotten what him and his friends were supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
Which you wouldn't think that Mike would forget the plan that he and Dustin and Lucas and Will have.
Yeah, his mind is just elsewhere, right? And he's being asked to donate this stuff, but I think his struggle with that is he doesn't want to let go of that stuff from the past. Like, he still wants to be there. And I will point out here now, Eric, because I know we're going to continue to talk about this a lot as the seasons go on, but like, I think I really took note of, this is only supposed to be a year in the future, right? But there's really been a couple years between these seasons, and you see the difference too in the actors. I would say, like, they definitely appear, like, Dustin to me is like notably more than a year older. Like, I feel like it definitely is a little bit of a stretch of like some of the characters don't look older, but the boys, I feel like that is a challenge, I would imagine, for the storytelling, where like boys at that age really start to then just look dramatically older, with each year. And so 2 years between the seasons, to me, I was like, oh yeah, Mike does look like significantly older. I felt like
I actually
did you not?
I would not say that about this season. Obviously, future
maybe I'm just more hyper aware of it. Yeah.
But I think they did a reasonable job making them all look very
Yeah.
similar to the way they looked in the first
Yeah.
season. I mean, are they older? Yes, but not so notably.
Yeah.
I think when we get to season 3,
Yeah.
it's like a huge jump,
Yeah.
and it's noteworthy
Right.
that they've all changed. And then season 4 is even bigger from there.
Oh, for
So
sure.
yeah, it does change quickly,
Yeah.
but yeah, for only 1 year and having it actually have been 2, I
Yeah.
don't know, I feel like it
Yeah,
was
because the
okay.
timeline of the show just stays in like real time, regardless of how much time is between each season. So I'm sure we'll continue to talk about that. But yeah, we are then with Steve and Nancy arriving for dinner at the Hollins house, so Barb's parents. And the first thing they notice are these for sale signs outside of the house. And
Right.
they're going in, and Barb's parents are telling Nancy, that they're hiring this guy Murray Bowman, who we met
Right.
at the police station, and he's going to do what the Hawkins police haven't been capable of doing. We're going to find Barb. And it's like, "Oh man." So they have not been informed at all about what they learned. I mean, I guess how could they really inform them? Um there's no body to show them. So,
No.
And Nancy is just hearing them talk about this and just having such a hard time. And I'm thinking, wow, this is so much for a teenager to be taking on right now, right? Like
Well,
the parents are there, like,
yeah.
ugh,
And Nancy doesn't know what to say, and
right.
so she excuses herself from the table and ends up going and just crying in the bathroom.
Yeah.
And it's one of those things where Nancy actually never saw Barb in the Upside Down either, but with everything that she
Yeah.
knows that's
Yeah.
true.
Yeah.
She knows that that's the
Yeah.
case. In fact, I would argue that Nancy knew that as soon as they had 11 in the swimming
That's
pool,
right.
and they say that she found, and 11's talking about
Yeah.
Barb and then saying
Yeah.
gone. That's
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
That's it. They knew everything they needed to know right then.
And I guess we don't know. I mean, I'm thinking Hop probably had a conversation, like that group probably got together and kind of debriefed about everything. I don't know for sure. They didn't show that, but I imagine that something like that happened. And one thing that I also did notice here, Eric, is, and I mean, understandably so, but there were pictures of Barb like everywhere in this house. Like when Nancy went into the bathroom, there were photos of Barb in the bathroom. I mean, they were
I
just,
I don't think I can blame them.
no,
I don't think I can
it
blame
was
them.
just heartbreaking, right? And they, yeah,
And clearly Barb is also an only child
yes, right.
from
That's what
my
I took.
take of it.
That's,
So
yeah,
if you are an only child and this is what's happened to
right,
you, I can only imagine
right.
that is what your parent,
Absolutely.
like, I would probably do
I
the same
know.
thing.
It was just heartbreaking. And and I think that's also why Nancy is feeling like obligated to go over there and spend time with them and be with them and be a support because, yeah, she was probably like, you know, a sister to Barb. And so she was there all the time and trying to give them some hope. And I do like that Steve was to kind of lighten the situation. He's like sitting eating Kentucky Fried Chicken, just saying, "This is finger licking good." Steve.
There you go. Trying to like ease the tension a little bit.
Yeah.
But then we flash to Mike, who's packing up the toys
Yes.
for the 2
Right.
boxes that he's got to fill, and he's going through certain ones, and some are going in and some are being saved, and then he gets to the Millennium
I
Falcon,
know.
and he holds it and he thinks about it, and he looks over at the fort that Elle used to,
It's
hang
still
out in,
made.
and so he goes, yeah, it's still there. He goes over to it, sits inside with a walkie-talkie, and tries to communicate with Elle saying, "Hey, this is day 352. Are you out there? Like, this is Mike, blah, blah, blah." And it keeps on going, trying to make contact. Nothing. So then he walks away, comes out. It looks like he's about to go back to his boxes when all of a sudden he hears a noise on the walkie and he thinks, "Oh my God, it's Elle."
Yes.
He rushes over there. And what he did was he heard Dustin on the other side. And Dustin and Lucas have a plan for Max.
Yes.
And, Mike could
Yeah,
care
he's like, yeah,
less
I'm
at this
busy.
point.
I'm busy, guys.
Yeah. But they transition this then over to Dustin and Lucas, who are riding their bikes home. And Dustin is pulling up at home, where he hears the same noise from the cornfield.
Right.
But it's like by his trash can. And he interprets it as being
the
a
cat.
cat.
Yes. He was saying mew. Yeah.
Yeah. But it isn't.
No.
And so he walks inside, and then the trash can violently shakes.
Yes. Yeah, that if that's the cat, there's an issue there. There's something wrong with your cat.
It's a tiger, is what it is.
Yeah, exactly. It was really shaking, and that's really all you get from that scene.
We're back to John picking out movies and talking to Will.
That's right. Yeah, Jonathan and Will, he's seeing that he's drawing, which again, like, wow, Will is this incredible artist. He has this like really intricate drawing going on, and but he is then writing Zombie Boy, and Jonathan is asking, who's Zombie Boy? He's saying me. He's like, did someone call you that? And Jonathan is trying to console him, to comfort him, but Will is like, you know what, stop treating me this way like I'm a baby, like I can't handle things on my own. It doesn't help me, it just makes me feel like more of a freak, and he's just, you're not a freak. And he's saying, well, yeah, I am. And at this point, Jonathan, I like this pivot that he takes, because he's like, you know what? Yeah, you're right. You are a freak, and so am I. And being a freak is the best. And I'm a huge freak. And, and Will is like, well, is that why you don't have any friends? Yeah.
Well, it's also, he's like, do you want to go through life just being normal? Like, nobody wants to be normal. You want to be different. You want to have something. Like, nobody normal in this world has ever done anything interesting. Like, everybody that ever does anything exciting is a freak of some kind. And of course, this is when like Bob walks up.
Well,
and
yeah. Well, before that though, I do like how when Will asks Jonathan, do you have any friends? And he's like, well, you're my best friend, so it's very clear that Jonathan is like really like he's very much trying to just keep that relationship with Will super tight. And and he asks him, would you rather be Bowie or Kenny Rogers? David Bowie or Kenny Rogers? And then Bob, then this is when Bob walks in, he's like, man, I love Kenny Rogers. And they're both
they're all like
laughing.
Right, of course.
Yeah, exactly.
Of course you do.
Right. And Mr. Vanilla, and that's all right, Bob, we love you. And then Bob, we learned that Bob has picked out Mr. Mom. And they're all laughing to that. Well, Bob is mostly the one I think really enjoying.
Bob is laughing. They're all enjoying the movie, but like Bob is like literally laughing at every line that is told in the movie.
Yeah. And then the phone
which
starts.
I thought was funny because they just like the whole idea of like the family gathering around the television to watch a movie together.
Yeah.
That scene is not playable today. Like it just doesn't happen because everyone's got phones and everyone's got iPads and people have their own devices and people are watching their own thing. And you don't have the excitement of, hey, we brought this video home, because everything is streaming on your television all the time and you can listen to whatever you want. And it's hard to remember that was a time in both of our lives for a very long time. But that just does not really manifest anymore.
Yeah, there was something to be said for, I think, even outside of your household, knowing that everywhere, like all across the country, everyone was tuning in to the same stuff all the time. Like we had one thing that people were watching, or there were like 5 options, right? So there was this just unified approach to content, right? Which
when
word
Stranger
wasn't used,
Things,
but yeah,
when Stranger Things season 5 comes out, everyone will be watching, and they'll be talking about that.
Yeah, and I there is something about that that's really comforting, right? I think to
Yes.
our generation, it's like knowing that, hey, everyone is kind of tuned in to this one thing. Although still now you can watch at your leisure, like you can watch it when you want to watch it. You're not necessarily watching at the same time, but I would say that it does have that effect with like, we know the season finale is going to be released on that specific,
The
is it New
day that it's
Year's? Yeah.
released, yeah, the day that it's released, the day that all
People
of
are going to
these
be
are
watching.
released,
Yeah.
people will be watching it that day.
Yeah, yeah. So pretty cool. Um, but then we have this moment where the phone starts ringing as they're watching the
Yes.
movie, and Bob is saying to Joyce, just let it go. It must be a prank call. Joyce looks pretty concerned in this moment though, which I'm thinking, are they getting a lot of like bullying calls directed at Will? That's kind of how I took that. Or
See,
maybe
I
reporters calling in. I don't know.
I didn't even take it like that. I just
Okay.
took it as like the last few times she answered the phone that we saw, Will was like in the upside down trying to communicate through.
True.
Or like we had like lightning strikes coming out of the phone because it was being like zapped from too much from the upside down.
Yeah, that's
So
true.
I think just picking up the phone could be a traumatic experience.
That is true. And then we have this moment where we're back in the lab and you're just with this dude bouncing a ball against the wall. And I guess he's kind of in front of all of this switchboard system or some type of it wasn't fully clear what it was, but there were all of these lights that started flashing on this dashboard and alarms were going off. It did not look good, and he all of a sudden is like,
No,
what's happening
but
here?
it was very all the like the switchboard had all these different colors on it. It's all flashing, very colorful, and it was very reminiscent to me of all the Christmas lights going off,
Mhm.
like in Joyce's house, just the
Absolutely.
and so uh I interpreted that as something from the upside down
Yeah.
is communicating through this.
Yeah, exactly. But it's just a really quick glimpse. We don't really know yet.
Very short
And
scene.
then we're with Will, where he's using the bathroom again, and there is this rumbling outside. There is red flashing, and this door opens, and you're back in the upside down. And he's really afraid, but he's walking toward it. And I'm thinking, I don't know. I
Yeah.
mean, yeah, he's still going toward this insanity that is outside. And then you see this red lightning that's, flashing down, and you get a
The
glimpse.
storm looks
It is
massive.
massive. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
really, really crazy. Um, then we see a giant monster with these massive tentacles in the distance. I mean, it looked like a giant spider, which I know that we
Oh, that's the same thing I wrote down. I was
really.
like, I don't know how to describe this. I'm like, it almost is
uh
giant spider-like.
my worst
Like, because
nightmare.
all you do is just see like these arms slash
Yes,
legs,
yes.
like, and it looked like they were at least 6, maybe 8, and that's all you can see from a
Yep.
distance.
Yep.
So, there's something out there,
Uh-huh.
and it's big, but at the same time, as Will has said, it's not coming to get him.
No. No.
And so he's not super afraid of being hurt out
Right.
here,
Cuz
but he is concerned with the amount of evil that is
That's
here,
right, because it's almost like he's a part of it, right? And that's how he's able
right?
to see these glimpses. He's not going through any portals to be seeing all of this stuff.
No,
It's like he is just able to access this other part, this other dimension. And lucky him, right? And then
good for you.
and then we're with Hopper arriving at this cabin. He's taken a long road. He
Yeah,
is off
he's
in the middle of
he's just kind
nowhere.
of wandered out into
We're
the
like, where is he?
woods, and you see him like step over a trip wire
Uh-huh.
that has clearly been set up, but he obviously knew exactly where it was.
Hmm.
Stepped right over it. He goes up to the cabin, and he knocks on the door with a very like coded knock.
Right. Right. And then you're hearing, it's 8:15 and you're late. We're like, what? You just
Yeah,
hear this voice in the distance, and
He says it's 815.
815,
and you're
thank
late.
you. Yes, that is a great
It's
point.
815.
815, not 815. It's 815 and you're late. And
There was no signal.
yes, and then who do we see come out but 11? And he's telling her it's 815, not 815. And he's telling her dinner first and then dessert always. That's the rule. And
Right.
so, but yeah, they're sitting down with their little TV, kind of sad looking TV dinners, and in this little cabin. So yeah, 11 is there with him. Apparently he has been having dinner with her every night, and he's keeping
At least that's the implication.
That is what it looks like, right?
And now, like that, this is kind of where Hop is now,
right.
and that she's still there,
right.
and she's now growing her hair out significantly.
Yes.
Like long, round, curly hair, and that's just how the episode closes, like a pan back from the dinner table, and that's it.
Right. And Eric, I couldn't remember. It wasn't until he arrived at the cabin that I was like, oh yeah, 11 does appear in this episode. Did you remember that she was going to appear right here, or did you think it was possibly later?
I was pretty confident she showed up in this episode.
Yeah.
Because I don't think, I don't know if there's an episode that doesn't have her in it. I think she's in every single episode.
That is a really good point.
So, I believe, I believe that she is there, at least so far anyway.
Yeah.
I don't recall. I'll have to, as we go through, we'll watch and pay more attention, I suppose. But I was pretty confident that she showed up at the very end of this episode. What I was always thrown with until the very end of last season is season 2 the one where Hopper and 11 are out in the woods? And that is correct.
That's right.
Like the timeline of some of these events, like the funny thing is I knew Billy showed up this season. Like I knew he was a new character. I could not remember for the life of me if Max did. And I know they're brother and sister and related, but like for some reason I thought Billy was there before Max was. And I don't know why that is. And I think I'm going to try and figure out why I thought that throughout this episode or throughout this season.
Well, she's very quiet. So it might have just been that she really didn't have any lines. Like
I mean, she's clearly a huge part moving forward.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll see. We'll see how this goes. But Billy didn't have a whole lot to do in this episode other than show up.
That's right.
So
that's right. Yeah, they didn't.
Okay, so now we're going to jump into our IMDb rankings and our favorite and least favorite character of the episode. So, before we do the rankings, Amanda, do you want to pick your favorite or least favorite character?
I do.
Okay.
So,
what do you got?
You know what? I'm going to start with my least favorite because this is kind of a little bit hard to say because I love this character very much, but I know I'm really not going to pick him as least too often anyway. But for this one, I'm actually going with Hopper because because I love Hopper. I'm always in his corner despite him being my least for this episode. This was purely because my heart really went out to Mike when I'm like, man, he's keeping 11 secret in this cabin. And I remember how Mike reacts in the future. Obviously, very upset with Hopper. And I know that Hopper is doing it for a very adult and important reason, but I was still like, oh, couldn't he have shared it with the group at least? Couldn't he have let them know what he was doing? They were this, this joint force. And now I feel like I didn't like that he was just keeping her hidden away, even from those who experienced the Upside Down along with him and could probably use a little bit of that relief from their trauma, just knowing that at least she's okay. That was where where that came from for me. So what about you, Eric? Who's your least?
Okay. I don't want to always pile on these types of characters, but I'm going to pick Bob.
And
it's not because Bob does anything wrong.
Mm.
It's just that every time you see him, you're like, oh my God, this guy.
Yes.
But that's what he's supposed to be. Like it's by design that he is Mr. Vanilla, absolutely nothing exciting about him, blah, blah, blah. And so, yeah, I'm picking Bob, but I do think the character is portrayed incredibly well.
Yes.
And it's just like the scene where he comes in like, oh, I like Kenny Rogers.
God.
And then he's just laughing on the couch the whole time. And it's like, okay, this guy, he has no idea what he's walking into.
Yeah, he just does not fit into the Byers vibe very well. But at the same time, like we said earlier, it's pretty much exactly what Joyce was looking for. Like that was very intentional. Yeah. An intentional choice. And also we learned one thing we didn't mention is that Bob also grew up with them. So he's been in Hawkins his whole life. And I think he's always had a crush on Joyce. And I think she finally was like, you know what? I'm going to give Bob a chance here because I just want someone vanilla. But yeah, I totally understand and appreciate that choice. What about your favorite, Eric? Who did you pick for?
Well, I'm torn between a few, and I'll be honest, I don't know that there's anyone that really jumps off the page to me today as like a must-have favorite character. And I think I'll get into that more when we talk about the ratings for the episode.
Yeah.
But I think I'm going to go with Steve.
Okay. Yeah.
And the reason I'm saying Steve is because I really like the repair job they start to do on his character. He's not in a lot of scenes here, but he does start to like showcase that he's a guy that we might actually want to see develop here.
Yeah.
He is taking his academics seriously. He is in a long-standing committed relationship now since it's been over a year with Nancy. He still falls into the like living in high school, not really recognizing the world around him.
Sure.
Philosophy a little bit. But yeah, I think I'm gonna go with Steve, and I could have gone with a few others here.
Yeah.
But I'll stand there.
Yeah, I like that. I like that choice for sure. I went with Jonathan, because I really liked the scenes where he was showing up for Will, staying strong and prioritizing his family, even while Nancy and Steve are kind of being like in his face about their relationship. He was keeping a clear head about like, listen, I'm going to be here for my brother or be here for my family. So
absolutely.
Jonathan is just
Jonathan was
guy.
On the short list as well.
Yeah.
For what it's worth, I also had Will on the short list. I thought Will, even though he was quiet through a lot of it, he was a key piece to a lot of these things. Mm-hmm. I thought Mike did a very good job in this episode. I don't pick Mike a whole lot either.
Yeah.
Just because you kind of really see where Mike's at throughout all of these different things.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's true. I mean, Will, right. If I was dealing with what Will is dealing with at the age of, I guess they're 13 now, I'd probably be hiding in my bedroom closet and never wanting to come out. So, wow, the fact that
I would just not have made it out of the Upside Down. I would have just been dead long ago.
Yeah, that was, oh my goodness. So the fact that he's even attempting normalcy, going out, hanging out with friends, wow, yeah.
Yeah, I'll say this. I don't know if Zombie Boy note in my locker would impact me so much if I've already dealt with the Upside Down.
Right.
Bring it.
Yeah, bring the little bullying comments. We're good there. Eric, do you want to look at the actual ratings, or do you want me to go through a couple of these like trivia points first?
Let's do the trivia first then.
Okay.
Go for it.
All right, cool. So, we already kind of touched on a lot of the music. So we talked about Whip It by Devo being there, Rock You Like a Hurricane by Scorpions, Just Another Day by Oingo Boingo, and the other one that I really liked was Talking in Your Sleep by the Romantics. That was another good one. So this one was just full of those tracks, which I really appreciated because I know we mentioned on the last couple where they got away from that because it really just didn't fit the vibe.
Well,
Yeah.
they do such a really good job of setting the stage with that
Yes.
80s music when it's fun.
Yes.
And then I think when it gets a little bit more serious, it's still eerie in an 80s type of way.
Yes.
But
Yes.
it's not necessarily those same tunes that you've been used to, but it's still the same type of instruments,
Yeah.
that kind of create that.
Oh,
Anyway.
yeah, like the synth sound for sure.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and then so I wanted to point out I know we talked about Dragon's Lair a little bit, and I guess
Yes, we did.
that was so Dustin makes a comment about how it's overpriced, and I guess that was the first game, probably because of the new types of graphics and that type of thing that it was using, but it was the first game to charge 50 cents instead of the normal quarter to play it. And even in some markets, I guess it went up to $1, which, like, for playing an arcade game, paying $1 for one round, that's a lot of money.
There you go. That's a lot of money.
Yeah,
It's a lot of money back in the day.
that's right. And then another point was how Mr. Wheeler, I think I already made mention of this, where he asked Mike, about jumping off a cliff. And
Yes.
he doesn't
Yes.
answer, but it's like, yeah, Mike has already jumped off the cliff. And the last point was when we first see MADMAX, who is played by Sadie Sink, skateboarding. Eric, I thought you'd like this. She flips up her board, revealing this design. I don't know if you saw this, but it kind of resembled the hoverboard in Back to the Future. Like the pattern on her skateboard was very reminiscent of.
I did not see that.
Yeah.
But I did see a sticker on the bottom of her on her skateboard that said "Mad something." It was like one word, 6 letters, started with MAD.
Was it
And I was
MADMAX?
like, no, it wasn't.
Oh, okay.
It was something else. And I was like, I wonder if that's where she's getting the mad from. For MADMAX.
Okay. Madcap, maybe? I feel like Mad.
I don't know. I'll pull it back up and look.
Okay.
But that being said,
Yeah, cool.
like, her name's Max.
Yeah.
And she's going to go by MADMAX on the video game. So
Yeah.
I'm not shocked that she would have a sticker on the bottom of her skateboard that would have something like that as well.
Because I'm pretty sure Mad Max, the movie, came out in like 83 too. So that was probably a big
It would be
big
around,
deal at that
yeah.
point too. But yeah. That's
Absolutely.
Yeah, cool. So with the IMDb ratings, Eric, do you want to go
Yes.
first or do you want me to?
Sure.
What you yeah.
I'll go first.
Okay.
So again, we'll point out the Stranger Things average score is an 8.6. We got into some pretty high scores towards the end there. In fact, the very last
I love
episode
that
was
last.
a 9.3,
Yeah.
and number 7 was a 9.
Yeah.
So we got well into some high scores there.
Yeah.
However,
Yeah.
I'm going to drop this one quite a bit.
Yep.
I think this episode is fine. I think it sets the stage. I don't know that there's anything in this, even the, potential Demogorgon type things that
Yeah.
might be around at the pumpkin patch and
Yeah.
the trash can, like seeing the new doctor.
Yeah.
I mean, you introduced a lot of new cast members.
Yes. Stage
And
setting.
I love that.
Yes.
But that's about all this episode does, outside of showcasing Will being able to go back and forth between the Upside Down and real life a number of times. So I'm going to give this an 8.4.
Yeah.
It was a fine episode. Nothing that like knocked my socks off though.
I have literally the same exact review. So that was really well said. And I agree with that.
Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, I actually had an 8.2 written down. So the last episode, season finale of season 1, I gave that a 9.5. I mean, and I really enjoyed this episode as well, but I feel like it was doing a lot of stage setting, right? Like we were developing where we're going to be going, giving glimpses of new characters joining the mix. But we really didn't find out too much about anything. Like you're getting a sense of where we could go, but you don't
Yeah.
really know what it all means
Well,
yet. So,
I'm looking at season 1's ratings,
mm,
and 8.3 was the lowest score, and that was chapter 2.
okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that being said,
Yep.
after your rating here, chapter 1 of season 2 is an 8.1.
Okay. Wow. Yeah.
So this
Okay.
is
Yeah, I
the
was
lowest
close.
rated
Yeah.
episode
So far.
in Stranger Things that we have so far come across.
That makes sense to me. Yeah.
And I'm not surprised at that.
Yeah. Yeah. And
I don't think there was anything in this
yeah.
that really jumped out.
Yeah.
Um,
I will say,
The
yeah,
m-
like even the intro piece was very confusing at this point. It was like, well,
all
what's happening there?
all the intro piece does is set the table for, hey, there's more of these kids out there.
Yeah. Yeah.
But then you never go back and reference it.
No.
There's no other moment
Yeah.
to like see those people. And then, but like I said, this is just an introduction of a flood of characters between meeting Barb's parents, Dustin's mom, Dr. Owens, Bob, Max and Billy. That's a lot of people to keep straight, and I'm sure I missed somebody. Did I miss anybody? I don't know. That's a lot of characters to introduce to a show that's already got a pretty big, ensemble cast.
Yeah. Yeah. And also I will correct myself right now, that there was only 1 year between season 1 and season 2 of Stranger Things. So
Oh,
what I just said
okay.
before, I don't know. Maybe my mind is in the future where I know that there are 2 and 3 years between some of the
There-
seasons. And actually, now that I'm saying that out loud, Eric, I remember when I looked this up, season 1 to 2 was 1 year, season 2 to 3 was 2-year gap, and season 3 to 4 was a 3-year gap. So there was just like these
Yeah.
massive gaps in between. And as we
Well-
go along, they kept adding another year between with some good
So-
reasons because of what was going on globally. But yeah.
Well, sure. And so right now, like, the fact that they're only 1 year older does not shock me. Like,
Dustin just
you heard me
looked so
say it
much.
at the time.
Yeah, I don't know. Dustin just looked so much older.
I don't know. I just felt like they all looked very
Well, I
similar.
guess they were. So
I mean, to
disregard.
me, it was like, yeah, all right, fine. But I think the next season, when there's now,
Yeah.
like now they've gone from theoretically being a freshman in high
Yes.
school to a senior in high
Yeah.
school. But it's still only been 3 years, like 3 seasons. That to me is a realistic jump. It's the season 4 jump
Yes.
where suddenly
Yeah. Yeah.
they've now
Yeah.
become almost seniors in college,
Right.
but it's only the 4th
Yes.
year. Like, it's like, wait a minute. Okay,
Yeah.
hold
Yeah,
on. They're all a lot older
In reality,
now,
right.
suddenly.
Yeah.
But again, I don't remember, like I said, like, I don't have this series locked into my memory bank as well. So I don't know
It's
if they
true.
put up like time jumps that are,
Oh, right.
more significant
Sure.
than others,
Sure.
where it's like, oh, 2 years later, 3 years later.
I don't think
they
so.
do.
No, I don't think
But-
so. But you know what?
I think it's supposed to be in order roughly, but
I guess
still.
I'll just say this. Eric, we grew up with Andrea Zuckerman in high school. So, she was about 30. She
Sure
was
did.
about 30 years old when she played that role in 90210, I think. So yeah, we
Sure did.
just saying, just gonna throw that out there. So oftentimes
That whole 90210 cast was a little wild. Like,
in retrospect,
some of those people were a lot older than the other
Yes.
ones, and it just is what it is. It's how it shakes out.
Oh.
So thank you so much for listening to the We Run on Reruns podcast. As we were talking about at the beginning, please follow us on Instagram and TikTok and YouTube. We're everywhere. If you could just share or repost a video or like a video or comment on one of them, that would really mean a whole lot to us. We're trying to build this community out. go check out our website. We run on reruns.com. And for Amanda, this is Eric. Enjoy watching episode 2 of season 2 this week. Happy rerunning, everybody.
See you later, guys.